I have seen the next Marvel movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of Mediocrity. Hey everybody, it's the Comic Relief Crusader, and I have seen Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And oh my god, this should have actually been called Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets and his sister and girlfriend, because you see actually more action by the sister and by the girlfriend, or would it actually be Buddy, than you do Shang-Chi himself. You know, all the critics out there are saying that this is a genuine triumph and this is such a good representation of Asian actors and whatnot. No, it's extremely mediocre at best. I mean, there was nothing bad about it. There was nothing really woke about it. It was just mediocre. Like, this didn't even feel like a Marvel movie whatsoever. It felt like every other type of kung fu movie that was out there, you know, whether it was like Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan or anybody else for that matter. It just felt like another kung fu movie with maybe one or two Marvel characters sprinkled in it, really. I mean, besides Shang-Chi, obviously. Now, if you're familiar with any of the Shang-Chi comics from Marvel, you would know that the main antagonist kind of would be named Fu Manchu. But of course, we can't say that nowadays because, you know, culturally insensitive. But they went ahead and renamed him the Mandarin, which is kind of confusing because the Mandarin shows up in Iron Man 3 and by Ben Kingsley. But this guy is saying he was the original Mandarin. Rather confusing. Now the thing is, it starts out kind of like light as a comedy, but then it turns into a street fight fest, and then it goes straight into Chinese fantasy slash Pokemon. So, you know, that's about it. What else is there? It's the problem with the main character. It's like basically he is the main character in the movie, but essentially you got him in the background and everybody else taking over and doing everything that he should be doing, like his girlfriend. Uh, it's driving a bus, driving a car. And aside from that, not knowing exactly what it wants to be, there's the there's the question that goes unanswered about where did these rings come from? Don't know. So how did they get there? Don't know. You know, but the main antagonist, which ends up being Shang-Chi's daughter, sorry, not daughter, but, you know, the main antagonist, basically, dear old daddy, just has finally had enough and wants to break down and stop the pillaging and looting and, you know, wants to have a family. How can you just not want that to happen? Now, this movie starts Simu Liu, who is Canadian, and it seems like who has a problem with white producers in Canada thanks to Kim's Convenience and whatnot. Oh well, can't be racist, can we? And Aquafina, who is Marvel's Katie. So the Mandarin basically goes to Tailao and meets Xingling. God, I hope I'm really not butchering these names. That'd be a shame. Anyway, and of course, you know, because she's a woman, she beats the Mandarin. And of course, all lovey-dovey things happen and they have kids. So fast forward probably another 20 years later, and then all of a sudden, Shang-Chi basically has a girlfriend, or it's more like a buddy because it really don't feel like girlfriend, boyfriend, kind of like, you know, kind of thing. It's more like a buddy-buddy relationship. It doesn't even feel like he's like, And then there's Shang-Chi's sister, who, of course, you know, naturally, because she's a woman, beats his ass. So even though he was trained to be like, you know, a super assassin, but yet she can go ahead because dear old daddy didn't train her. She taught herself, because that's totally realistic and that can happen, can't it? So, but essentially, he grows up and he goes to America and he becomes the best parking valet attendant that one can be. Such a stressful job. Oh my God. Just the stress of it all, along with his girlfriend. So, yeah, after a little bit of an attack and a 6-minute downhill ride down San Francisco hills, which generally, actually, if you kind of calculate it, would probably be anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes. But, it's Marvel and you need the action and something to kind of maybe move the movie along, sort of. We'll extend it by, doubling it. Anyway, um, they decide on a valet's income. Guess what? We're going to go to China. We're going to figure out what's going on. And of course, eventually meet up with little sister who started her own empire because daddy wouldn't train me. So yeah, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Now I got to reiterate that usually in the Marvel kind of fashion, like say, I don't know, Captain America or Iron Man, God, any Marvel movie whatsoever. I mean, the fights have generally been rather fantastic, but in this movie, whether it's the bus scene or whether it's the scaffolding scene, which is outside of Little Sister's empire, it's just generic kung fu style type of fighting that you would see normally in any other kind of kung fu movie. You look at a Bruce Lee movie or you look at a Jackie Chan movie, and it's pretty much almost the same kind of fast fighting, the same type of moves. There's really nothing special about it. And essentially, I just feel like I'm looking at another kung fu movie with a Marvel name on it. The other problem is, on top of that Simu just does not have much of a screen presence. He seems very bored with the script, very just dull. There's like hardly any chemistry whatsoever. Everybody else is bringing it except him. Then on top of that, you have most of the action that goes to his sister, who just, kicks ass and takes names. I'm not so much like him. But because she's women, obviously she can kick anyone's ass because, Shang-Chi was only trained by the Mandarin and Death Dealer, and but not any of that matters because she trained herself. So anyway, they're caught by the Mandarin at the end of the whole big scaffolding fight and whatnot. So the kids and Katie are brought back to the Mandarin's hideout because we need to be a family. So basically finding out afterwards, what really happened to his mom and whatnot, and, what he did and why he went to America, and looking at some mystic water and finding a map to a mystical place, they decide to go to Taylor because that's where the Mandarin believes his dead wife is being held. Even though she's dead. And he knows she's dead. So the kids decide they have to escape. And thanks to Iron Man 3's that Mandarin, they get help from a walking winged footstool covered in fur. So after stealing a car, they make it all the way to the mystical place where they meet Shang-Chi's aunt, Michelle Yao, actually, who was pretty good. I didn't mind her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Really nice. But yeah, teaches him the rest of what he needs to know on how to fight dear old daddy with issues. And this mystical land is just so awesome. It has Chinese lions and Chinese dragons and Moltres and Ninetales. It's got Pokemon, man. But anyway, The whole village is there to protect this cave with an evil, soul-sucking dragon demon thingy. Why? Don't know. But it can project its thoughts through multiple different pocket universes, which dear old daddy is hearing. How? Don't know. Why does this demon want to escape and destroy basically everything? Don't know. So daddy comes to invade. Fight, 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 fight. More kung fu fighting. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those cats were fast as lightning. Makes it to the gate after fighting his little boy, who incidentally plops into, one of the lakes, only to be later on saved by this other dragon. Starts punching the wall, releasing some sort of soul-sucking vampire bat thingies, and not once does he question, hey, what are those things? No, he just keeps on punching the wall, doesn't even question, maybe my wife isn't behind this giant cave wall thingy. Bad things happen. Bad guys that came with dear old mean old Mandarin Daddy decide to team up with good guy villagers, defeat soul-sucking vampire bat thingies, and Daddy basically has a change of heart after he realizes what he's done, only to die. So battle ensues between dragon and dragon thingy. Katie saves the day by shooting an arrow through the dragon's neck, and Shang-Chi basically does a Kamehameha kind of thingy to the dragon, thus saving the day, and that's pretty much it, with a lot of support from the whole, Whammon faction. So, not quite too woke. I did enjoy it. It was okay in a mediocre kind of sense, but it just didn't feel like a Marvel movie. I'm sorry. It just didn't. It really honestly didn't. Yeah. Don't know where this is really going, especially in the after scene with Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel. But I don't know. I'm not exactly looking forward to the Eternals after this. So enjoy your Kung Fu movie. I'd rather see something by Jackie Chan. I'm not going to say I didn't like this movie. I sort of kind of liked it. I do like old movies like Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, stuff like that. I love a good kung fu movie. They're awesome. The action is great, especially Jackie Chan, where he does his own stunts, and he does his own stunts and everything. It's just that with the Marvel movies, I've just come to expect more, because you have the image of the comic and how fantastical it is, and it being a superhero world, you're expecting a little bit more to be done. This just felt like another generic kung fu movie. And on top of that, overshadowed by a lot of female character leads and co-stars, where the main character doesn't really shine through as it probably should, because, it is about the character itself. If you like it, you win. I just thought it was rather mediocre. Hey guys, the Comic Relief Crusader here. I know I'm just starting out, and thank you for all 42 subscribers that have subscribed. Give a like, leave a comment, spread the word. Trying to add more and more content every day, trying to get more videos out there. If you like what you hear, tell people about me. Would really help me out.